Thank you. Really, thank you. First of all, thank the voters, but I want to thank this incredible PR department that we have here because they've really put in a lot of work to kind of push me out there. I want to thank the Lions. I'm just thankful today to be able to get to a point where I've never gotten that in the Hall of Fame selection, and yeah, I'm just thankful. I'm sorry I'm looking a little rough. Eric knows, just had a couple of turkey giveaways earlier today, so didn't have time to go home and spruce up to come talk to you guys. But like I say, I'm just really, really thankful. It's the season to be thankful. It's close to Thanksgiving, so that's my one word. So I don't know. Any questions?
How do you feel standing up there today after getting the news?
Yeah, I got the news. Like I say, I was at a couple of turkey giveaways, and my phone just kept blowing up and didn't know why. And I spoke with that man, Greg, as I call him, G Money, and he's the one that broke the news to me, and I was just flabbergasted. I mean, I didn't have words, at that point. I'm still kind of short of words to say what this means to me, and just the appreciation, just from I've been out the game since '02. That was my last year. Been up since 2007, and like I say, to get to this round now, it just feels great. It really does. You feel appreciated.
It did feel like it took that kind of extra boost of the team to really put the candidacy out there, Lomas. For them to go out there to gather the quotes from a lot of your peers and, just to kind of feel that love from the organization. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. It really does. It means a lot. And it just means to me that you did something right, and you did something right for this organization. And I know, man, through my 11 years that I was here, we had some up and down years, more probably down than up years that I was here. So, like I say, just to hear from other players that I played against, guys that I played with, just the appreciation that I feel and that went into some of the things that they said. And, Sheila Hampford, like I say, the rest of this organization, they've been good to the big guy. They really have.
Hey, Lomas, first of all, happy birthday, as always.
Thank you, Bertie.
Hey, winding back to your youth, what drew you to the game of football originally?
Well, I mean, it was actually, like I tell everybody, the principal. I was in the band. Like I say, I played the trombone. I would have been the biggest trombone player in America. But my first day of high school, my principal grabbed me by the arm and took me back in the auditorium, and he signed me up for varsity sports, which was football. So, I was always the type of kid, never wanted to disappoint people. So I went out there. Reluctantly, I went out there. And as they say, the rest was history. So his name was Alex Bromere. I always thought that he's since passed, but I always used to thank him every time I went back to my high school, because if he wouldn't have grabbed me and took me back in there, I don't think I would be standing right here today talking to you guys.
Fall in love with the game pretty quickly, or how long did that take?
It took a while now, getting hit and all the other things that went into it. It took a while, but I think probably by my sophomore year, probably by my junior year, I really started loving the game of football, and it just kind of in my DNA and has been in my DNA since.
I think for most people in Michigan, man, you left an impact outside of just sports. I mean, you talk about the turkey drives, but how did you transition to make an impact? You're doing media, you're doing a lot of things in the community. How was that for you as a person to, make that impact outside of just sports? How important is that to you?
Yeah, well, as an offensive lineman, right, you always got that protective. It's something about you where you want to protect people or make sure everybody else is having success. And I think for me, when I first got here in '85, my thing was, instead of making a big impact on the field, I thought about making a big impact off the field. And it just kind of thrust me into the community. And you guys live here, man. This is a great community. And we know it's a lot of need out there. So, like they say, too much is given, much is expected. So I kind of took that moniker, and that's kind of been the way I've kind of led my life. And, through my foundation or whatever I do, like you're saying, doing turkey drives or whatever we can do to help, I feel we're obligated to do that. So that's kind of shaped me, and that's been me. That's just been me. I don't know any other way to be.
What does it mean to you now to be part of the broadcast team and to get an up-close look at what this team has been building the last couple of years?
Oh, this is so great, man. I mean, just to see, like I say, even with Dan, he talks about it, but I was in my 15th year and he was in his second year when I got to New York. And, you couldn't say he was going to be a great coach, but there was something different about that dude. The long hair. It was just something different how he carried himself back then. But, just like you're saying, just being part of what's transpired under him and how the team is on the rise now, and just to be a part of it, just to get the opportunity to be around it, talk about the guys that are out there now. It kind of keeps you involved with the game, but it also creates new relationships because these younger guys now, I'm around them a lot more, and they know me, I know them. So it's just been nice to be around these guys, and like I say, see the success that this team is having, this organization is having now.
I know you talked about the 18 years of eligibility. Just how validating is the quotes from your peers and now getting the news to you?
Yeah, that's big. That's big. When guys talk about you, and a lot of them are Hall of Fame guys. When they talk about you, like I say, Ben, it just lets you know you did something right back in the day, and that I made an impact. And it's been the offensive lineman. We're like the faceless five. They only call you out when you do something wrong. So it just kind of lets me know that I had a nice career here in the NFL and went against some great guys, played against a whole bunch of Hall of Fame guys, and it's just nice to know that your game kind of matched up with their game.
Speaking of that, when obviously there was an Emmett Berry debate, and a lot of people said that if Berry played behind Dallas's offensive line, I mean, and do you feel like you in particular were unfairly stigmatized because of that? I mean, and so that may have affected the game.
Yeah, I think because you're right. That's all we ever heard. And we knew what kind of offensive line we had. I mean, I played with an all-pro center in Kevin Glover. I think he's one of the best centers to ever play the game. And, before the accident with Mike Utley, he was going to be one of the best guards in the league. And, of course, the late, great Eric Andelsek was on the rise to be. So we knew what type of offensive line we had back then. And, I always tell people it was just Barry's running style. B's going to make it exciting. It's not going to always be downhill like Emmett was. B going to give you a little shake and bake every now and then. So it was more his running style. But, again, we know what we put into the game. And like I say, that comparison we always heard that. And we just tried to go out there and try to do as much as we could for Barry so he could have as much success as he could.
We know Greg and the guys are going to get back to work to try to get you over that finish line. But is there a little party that's thinking about that gold jacket and getting fitted yet?
Yeah, I want to make sure if I do get that gold jacket, I want to make sure it's the right size, Brad. I have to make sure it's the right size, right length. But no, yeah, always say this, and this is kind of how my career's been. When it happens, it's going to happen at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So, when it does happen, and I say when it does happen, it's going to be the right time. So if it's not this year, it's going to happen for me, and it's going to be the right timing for me.
LB, what's your favorite thing the game of football has either given you or added to your life?
Oh, wow. You know what? It's opened up so many doors. I mean, so many doors. Look, I wouldn't know you all, right? If it wasn't for the game of football, I get to work with my BFF. And, so it's just opened so many doors for me. I've met so many great people, and I think that's what football has done for me. I have childhood friends, that I go back with, that I met through playing football. Heck, I know the head coach of the Detroit Lions through playing football. So, it's just really opened up a lot of doors, and it's just a lot of people that I met that I've been blessed to meet along the way.
Lomas, while we have you, you mentioned Barry, and we might be watching another Hall of Fame caliber talent in Jameer. When you watch Jameer, do you ever see shades of Barry?
So Dan took the two things that I said. Through these 3 years of watching him, the thing that I think he has like Barry is the vision. He's so right about his vision because that's so important and how he sets up blocks. And you only do that unless you have that great vision. So that's the one thing that I noticed. The things that I don't compare with Barry that he does well, and B ran through the middle of between the tackles just as well. But man, Jameer, man, he is much stronger, and I think opponents find that out when they go up against him, how much stronger he is running between the tackles. He's not a hard guy to bring down. But the speed, that's unlike anything I've seen. I mean, really, I haven't seen anybody, I don't think, that I've been around that can run the way he runs. I mean, once he puts his foot in the ground, he is gone. So the speed is uncharacteristic, but the vision, I think, is the thing that I see the most with Barry. We good. All right. Thank you all. All right. Yeah.